Section 2.3, Part 3. Let's review combining like terms. Remember that you are first looking to separate each separate term. You have a 15n, a plus 7, a negative 12, and a negative 22n. You can combine the 15n and the negative 22n and the positive 7 and negative 12. When you combine the n's, you have a positive 15 and a negative 22. They are different signs, so you subtract. 22 minus 15 is 7. Bring down your n. The 22 is the bigger number, so the negative sign is in the answer. For the positive 7 and the negative 12, you again have different signs, so you subtract. 12 minus 7 is 5. The 12 was the bigger number, so the negative sign is kept. Your final answer is negative 7n minus 5. In 17 plus 25z minus 30, you have a 17, a positive 25z, and a negative 30. You can't combine the positive 25z with anything else because there are no other z's, but you can combine the positive 17 and the negative 30. When you combine those, they are different signs, so you subtract. 30 minus 17 is 13, and 30 is the larger number, so you keep the negative sign. Your final answer is 25z minus 13. We don't need the positive sign in front of the 25z since that is the first term. Now we're going to look at distributing and combining like terms. Your first step is to distribute because we have a 2 that needs to be shared with an x and a positive 5 that are inside the parentheses. You will bring the 2 down to the yellow circles because you are sharing it and need to multiply it by the x and the positive 5. We will also bring down the positive 3 just so you don't forget that later on. Then you multiply 2 times x, which is 2x. A positive 2 times a positive 5 is a positive 10, and you bring down your positive 3. Now it's time to combine the like terms. You have a 2x, a positive 10, and a positive 3. There is nothing to combine with the 2x because there are no other x's, but you can combine the positive 10 and the positive 3. They are the same signs, so you add and keep. 10 plus 3 is 13, you keep the plus sign. Your final answer is 2x plus 13. Let's look at 12 plus 4 times the quantity of negative 2x minus 3. You will notice that we need to combine and distribute as well. You distribute first. We are going to share the positive 4, so we'll put those into the yellow circles. Then we bring down the negative 2x and the negative 3. I will also bring down a positive 12 just so that we know that we're not going to forget about that. Now it's time to multiply. A positive times a negative is a negative, and 4 times 2 is 8, and don't forget your x. A positive times a negative is a negative, 4 times 3 is 12. And we'll bring down this positive 12 so we don't forget about that. We have 3 different terms here, a 12x, a negative 8x, and a negative 12. We can combine the 12x and the negative 8x because they both have x's. The negative 12, however, will just be by itself. When you combine the 12x and the negative 8x, you have a positive and a negative, so different signs subtract. 12 minus 8 is 4. 12 is the bigger number, so we'll keep it positive, and we need to make sure we keep the x. And you just bring down the negative 12, so your answer is 4x minus 12. In negative 6 times the quantity of 3x minus 2 minus 12x, we will need to distribute this negative 6 times the 3x and the negative 2. So the negative 6 will be shared and will be in the yellow circles. The 3x will go in the first square and a negative 2 in the second square, And we'll make sure we bring down that negative 12x so we don't forget it later on. Now you multiply negative 6 times a positive 3x is a negative 18x. A negative 6 times a negative 2 is a positive 12. And we bring down our negative 12x so we don't forget it. That leaves us with three terms, a negative 18x, a positive 12, and a negative 12x. We can combine the negative 18x and the negative 12x because they both have an x. The positive 12 is a constant and there are no other constants, so that one won't be combined with anything. When you combine the x's, you have a negative and a negative, so they're same signs, you add and keep. 18 and 12 makes 30, and we keep the negative sign and don't forget the x. Therefore, your final answer is negative 30x plus 12. Negative 2 times the quantity of x minus 4 plus 10. We will need to first distribute the negative 2 with the x and the negative 4. So I will draw a circle and a square, a circle and a square. The negative 2 is shared and it will be placed in the circles. Then we have an x and a negative 4. I will bring down the positive 10 just so we don't forget it. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times a negative 4 is a positive 8, and then we have the positive 10. That makes three terms. We have a negative 2x, a positive 8, and a positive 10. The negative 2x will not be combined with anything because there are no other x's, but you can combine the positive 8 and the positive 10. They are both positive, so they're same sign, add and keep. 10 plus 8 is 18, and keep the positive sign. Our final answer is negative 2x plus 18. 6 plus of 5 times the quantity of negative 3z minus 7. We will need to distribute this latter part of the expression. So I will just bring down a 6, but I will draw a circle and a square, a circle and a square. It is a positive 5 that is being shared, a negative 3z in the first box, and a negative 7 in the second. 5 times a negative 3z is a negative 15z, and a positive 5 times a negative 7 is a negative 35. I'll bring down the 6 too so we don't forget that. That leaves three terms, a positive 6, a negative 15z, and a negative 35. There is only one z, a negative 15z, so that won't be combined with anything. But you do have a 6 and a negative 35. The 6 is a positive and the 35 is a negative, so it's different signs and you subtract. 35 minus 6 is 29, and 35 was the bigger number, so it will be negative. Therefore, the answer is negative 15z minus 29. 4 plus 2 times the quantity of 2n minus 8 minus n. Don't be confused that the area we need to distribute is in the center of the expression. I will bring down the 4 so we don't forget it, and the negative n so we don't forget it, but I will also draw circle, square, square. We are sharing the 2, which is positive, and that goes in the circles. 2n is brought down, and a negative 8 is brought down. When you multiply 2 times 2n, you get 4n, and a positive 2 times a negative 8 is a negative 16. I'll bring down the 4 and the negative n so we don't forget it. I can combine a positive 4n and a negative n, which is really a negative 1n. And I can combine the positive 4 and the negative 16. When I combine the 4n and the negative 1n, I have different signs, so I subtract. 4 minus 1 is 3, bring down your n, and 4 was the bigger number, so it's positive. In the positive 4 and the negative 16, again, you have different signs, so you subtract. 16 minus 4 is 12, and 16 was the bigger number, so you keep the negative sign. Your final answer is 3n minus 12. Now let's look at an expression where you have to distribute twice. You will need to distribute the negative 5 with the x and the positive 2. And you also need to distribute a positive 4 with an x and a positive 4. To do that, you can first look at doing circle, square for the negative 5 expression. You'll put the negative 5 in the circles, and then the x goes in the first square and the positive 2 in the second square. In the other distributive property with the positive 4, you would put the 4's that you share into the circles, bring down the x into the first square and the positive 4 into the second square. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x, and negative 5 times a positive 2 is negative 10. A positive 4 times x is 4x, and positive 4 times positive 4 is a positive 16. Now you need to combine. If you look at your terms, you have a negative 5x, you have a negative 10, you have a 4x, which is positive, and a positive 16. You can combine this negative 5x and the positive 4x. And you can combine the negative 10 and the positive 16. When you combine the x's, you have a negative and a positive, so different signs subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1. Bring down your x, and the 5 was bigger, so it will be a negative x. We don't need to write the 1 since it's just 1x. On the constant side, you have a negative and a positive, so you'll subtract. 16 minus 10 is 6. 16 was the larger number, so it will be a positive 6. Your final answer will be a negative x plus 6. Here's another example with two areas that you need to distribute. You have 10 times the quantity of 2x minus 10, and a positive 7 times the quantity of x plus 10. First, let's do the circle squares, and you will have 10 as the number that is shared, and that will go into the circles, and 2x will go in the first square, and negative 10 will go in the second square. On the other half, you have a 7 that is shared. The x goes in the first square, and the positive 10 in the second square. Then you multiply. 10 times 2x is 20x. 10 times a negative 10 is a negative 100. Then you have 7 times x is 7x, and 7 times 10 is 70. You will have a 20x, a negative 100, a 7x, which is positive, and a positive 70. You can combine the 20x and the 7x, and the negative 100 and the positive 70. 20x plus 7x, they're both positive, so you add them and keep the positive sign. It would be a 27x. Then you have a negative 100 and a positive 70. They're different signs, so you'd subtract. 100 minus 70 is 30. 100 is the bigger number, so you keep the negative sign. Your answer is 27x minus 30. Negative 2 times the quantity of 3x minus 11 plus 2 times the quantity of 5x plus 1. We have two areas again where we need to distribute. So I will draw a circle, square, square for this one, and a circle, square for this one. We are sharing the negative 2, so that goes into the first set of circles. 3x comes down, and the negative 11 comes down. We're sharing a positive 2 on the other side, so those go in the circles. 5x comes down to the first square, and a positive 1 in the second square. Negative 2 times 3x is a negative 6x. Negative 2 times a negative 11 is a positive 22. A positive 2 times a positive 5x is a positive 10x, and a positive 2 times a positive 1 is a positive 2. Now to combine, we have a negative 6x, a positive 22, a positive 10x, and a positive 2. We can combine the negative 6x and the positive 10x, and the positive 22 and the positive 2. When we combine the x's, we have different signs, so we subtract. 10 minus 6 is 4. Bring down your x, and 10 was the bigger number, so it stays positive. On the other side, we have a positive 22 and a positive 2. They're same signs, so we add and keep. 22 plus 2 is 24, and we keep the positive sign. Your answer is 4x plus 24. 2 times the quantity of 7x minus 5 plus 8 times the quantity of x plus 2. Again, we have 2 sections to distribute, and I will do a circle, square, circle, square, circle, square, circle, square. We are sharing the 2, so that goes into the first set of circles. 7x is brought down, and a negative 5 is brought down. We have a positive 8 shared in these circles. The x is brought down, and a positive 2. 2 times 7x is 14x. A positive 2 times a negative 5 is a negative 10. 8 times x is a positive 8x, and a positive 8 times a positive 2 is positive 16. We have 4 terms to combine here. 14x can be combined with a positive 8x, and the negative 10 can be combined with a positive 16. When you combine the x's, you have same sign, so 14 plus 8 is 22. Bring down your x, and they were positive, so it stays positive. Negative 10 and a positive 16 are different signs, so you subtract. 16 minus 10 is 6. 16 was the larger number, so it stays positive. Your answer is 22x plus 6.